good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you're on and what time zone you are in. I'm your host, Skeptically Speaking.
And I'm Sweet Pea from across the pond.
And you found us on YouTube. You caught us. You caught us yet again. But did you know you can also find us on TikTok, Blue Sky, Discord, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Kick, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, and Substack. How are you doing, Sweet Pea?
I'm doing a bit better. How are you doing, Skeptically?
I am enjoying the last of my fruit-infused lemonade and vodka.
Nice.
This show is brought to you by Amsterdam Red Berry. I think I put a little too much in, if you know what I mean.
That's okay.
So I might be speaking in tongues.
That's okay. They haven't sponsored us, but we would love for them to sponsor us. Maybe we can try different flavors of theirs.
They owe us. Yeah, they owe us a sponsorship after all the many hours of entertainment and shows that we did. But it doesn't matter right now. The point is,
the many shows done under their lubrication.
Yeah, to put it lightly. And I've got two other flavors. I've got New Amsterdam and I got Svetka, which is a Swedish.
Okay. See, I want to be such a girl, and I want to try the one with like the gold flakes in it.
Oh, this is bottled in Modesto, California. Well, has nothing to do with Amsterdam. Okay, well. Well, Swedish, that's okay. The Swedish vodka that, I've had in the past. That was some good stuff, but you got to go easy on it because just a little too much and you know it. Cancels out all the sweet flavors that you've already had. Like, I'm at the limit for each of these glasses. And if I put any more, it's not going to taste good. It'll be strong.
So if you drink too much, you turn into a Swedish meatball?
I'll be a meatball, that's for sure. I mean, I'll be leaning. But we're not there yet. So anyway, as I was saying, if you would like to have more independent media in your life, please consider our show as part of your independent media portfolio. You can support us through Cash App, Venmo, Patreon. Links will be down in the description. And what a show we have for you. Now, for the show, for the opening of the show, I was going to start with articles, but I think I have a clip that pretty much says everything I would want to say and then more. So, listen up.
I just watched a video of a black lady who says she went on to the Leaving MAGA TikTok and how a lot of them are in this anguish and in this kind of purgatory because they're stuck between being abandoned by their MAGA family members and friends and not accepted by progressives because the damage they have done is so great and so wide. And it's so much more long-lasting than the damage they did in 2016 that we just can't forgive them. And this is what I want to say to the Leaving MAGA people. You're going to have to clean this up. And when I say clean this up, you're going to have to pay the biggest price, which is your life. You're going to have to exercise your Second Amendment right, and you're going to have to be on the front line. That is the only way you can atone for the sin of voting for that man in 2024. There was a grace that you could have gotten in 2016 because, yes, he did say Mexicans were rapists and he did say all these horrible things, but everyone thought it was a fucking joke. Everybody did not think that this was serious. People did not think he was going to win. I didn't think he was going to win. There were people who voted for him on a lark or a joke or because they were tired of the establishment or whatever, or just...
Except everybody that was listening to him and said, oh yeah, this guy's talking my language. Absolutely. They didn't think it was a joke. In fact, very few MAGA took it as a joke. But
Misogynistic.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there was a lot of the MAGA base that weren't taking it as a joke. Like, I remember, like, some of my friends that were on Facebook at the time were Republicans, were reading me Bible passages saying how Trump was the second coming, and they were comparing Trump because of his last name to the trumpets in the Bible.
I remember that.
Yeah. So
wow,
yeah.
talk about a blast from the past. Oh shit.
Yeah. So
I wonder what they're thinking now. I wonder if they're so deranged that they will figure. I'm telling you, if you look in the Bible long enough, you will find the verses you need to confirm your delusions. But
yeah, the thing is, they are in a cult, whether they want to acknowledge that or not. And unless they actually want to get out for it themselves and open up their mind to the truth, there is no reaching. You know, unless they want to be reached and they open their minds up to that, they knew exactly what they were getting into. And yes, they've probably fallen so far into it, they now find themselves feeling trapped. But unless they actually want to get out of that frame of mind, you know, it's that old adage, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You know?
Oh, yeah. And you know what's sad is the delusions are comforting to a lot of these people. They're comforting in a sense that, you know, as long as they don't receive any other information, or as long as they don't allow any new information to challenge what they already accept as true, then they'll be just fine.
Yeah,
staying in the cult that they're in.
Yeah. So unless they open their minds to actually want to leave the cult, then there's not a lot, you know, we can do to get through to them, you know?
I would go so far as to say there's no hope for them. I mean,
for the ones that actually do manage leaving, yes, they've probably stuck with a lot of, you know, conspiracy theories that, you know, they need to take the time to delicately and sort of thread, you know, the sort of knots that they've created. It's going to be a very delicate and very hard process, but I do agree with the lady. They're going to have to help, if not clean up the mess that they've created. You know, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, let's go ahead and listen to some more.
Because you didn't know, because he's never been president before, you could have gotten a pass for that. And he didn't win in 2020, so you didn't have to have any blood on your hands because you didn't get your way. But you did in 2024. And that was after watching that man allow hundreds and thousands of people to die from COVID because he was too busy helping red states fight the mask rules and talking about injecting bleach into the veins. Had he have been an actual president, lives could have been saved during the COVID era. You allow that man to kill thousands of people, hundreds of thousands if you're thinking about what we could have stopped here that did not spread to the other countries. But now you want atonement and forgiveness because it's getting too close to home. Your coworkers are being missing, a white woman was shot in the face, and your groceries are still high. And now you're scared. You're going to have to lay down your life. You're going to have to lay down your life for us. That is the price that is going to have to be paid for not even acceptance, but for us to not want to come for you. You're going to have to put yourselves on the front line and exercise your Second Amendment right. You're going to have to dig deep down and harness that inner Timothy McVeigh energy. You're going to have to harness that Ruby Ridge energy. You're going to have to harness the energy that your forefathers came and done to the Native Americans. That is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to lay down your life for the lives that have been already mowed down by ICE. So many people have been murdered in ICE custody, sexually assaulted in ICE custody. There's a video right now going around where an ICE agent is following a woman into a porta potty. There are probably thousands of cases of SA of women.
The video she's referencing, a woman goes to a porta potty and a ICE agent is following behind, slips on ice, falls on his ass, gets up, and then opens the porta potty and goes in. We don't know. We can only assume what happened after that.
I'm sorry, but since when is it appropriate for any man to follow a woman into a toilet?
It's a very small space.
That's not appropriate. He should lose his job.
Well, I mean, they're not losing their jobs by firing off their weapons, even on accident. I mean, these morons running down the street, chasing after people, dropping their firearms. I mean, there's another video of these two ICE agents walking on a sidewalk. One slips and you can see his firearm go off as he hits the ground. I'm like, what the fuck? There is nothing they can do that would get them to lose their job. Nothing.
ICE needs to be removed.
It needs to be disbanded, and everybody involved in that organization needs to be arrested immediately and charged for. Figure something out.
These
every single one
Trump's
of them.
Goons. These are Trump's goons. They need to be removed, arrested, and thrown in prison for what they're doing because it is not lawful. They are not police. They do not have proper licenses to do what they are doing. It is a goon squad running around.
Yeah, these guys, half of these people, I don't think they've had any firearms training outside of their own personal. Well, I went to a firing range a couple of times and I shoot my guns for fun. That's the training they get.
From my understanding, they have a 6 weeks training course to see if they can do some push-ups and stuff.
I don't even think it's that much.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that long of training. So, I don't know. Well, let's listen to some more.
And children in these places. And you helped them. You helped facilitate this. You were excited when the Big Beautiful Bill gave them money to do this. You did not care. We knew in 2024 that he was on that fucking list, but you didn't care. You turned a blind eye because you don't like black people and you were damned if a black woman was in power. And now you're scared and now you're crying and now you're alone. You're going to have to lay down your life. That's the answer. That's it. That's all. Because I'm tired of liberals and progressives coming on this app saying that we need you. We actually don't need you. We didn't need you. Voted for that man in 2020 and you didn't win. What we need are the apathetic progressive voters that stayed home. 90 million people stayed home. When Biden was elected, it was record numbers at the poll. MAGA did not leave Donald Trump after 2016. There was very few MAGA people who switched their vote from 2016 to 2020. What happened was people were scared because he murdered people, because he didn't take COVID seriously, and people got off their ass and went to the poll. We actually don't need you. We don't need your vote. We just need the apathetic voters. We just need the far leftists to get their heads.
Yeah, we need all of the Democrats who voted for Joe Biden and then stayed home for Kamala Harris. Those are the voters that need to get off their asses. And I'm talking about the white voters. The white voters now. The black vote, 92%. Damn near across, 92%. That's the black vote right now. So the black vote is not the problem. The problem is the white vote. White voters need to get their fucking heads out of their fucking asses and start giving a shit. You know, that's who we need. That's who we need. And we need to get their attention. You know? they're the ones that put us in this situation. The voters that turned out for the old man, the old white man, but couldn't be goddamn behooved or moved to vote for the black woman, who was more than competent, more than qualified. We are an unserious people. Moving on.
You are not needed. 2020 proved that we didn't need your vote because you voted for him then. The only thing we need is your bodies. We need your bodies to protect the people who are being harmed. I also just watched a video of a young boy who was taken from a Target, and he screamed that he was a U.S. citizen. Next video shows that they beat his ass up and dropped him off in front of a Walmart, and he's crying in grief and rage. You did that. People who are leaving MAGA, I need you to understand, you have helped these men rape women and children. You have helped these men beat up innocent people who are actually citizens, but they're brown. You help make this happen. You help when soldiers die because this diaper shitting pedophile wants to take over Greenland. When soldiers die, you're going to help put these soldiers in body bags. You did this. And it's at this time, you could call me part of the LeBron clan because I'm all about blood atonement. This is blood atonement time. You're going to have to atone by you putting your bodies out there. You may not die because you're white. You may not die. You may survive putting yourselves on the front line, but that's where you need to be. That is where you need to be. And if you make it home, if you actually make it home from those front lines, then we can discuss you coming into the fold. Until then, you can stay in purgatory until you're willing to pick up that weapon and fight the fight. That's all I have for you. And that may sound harsh, that might sound horrible, but think about the people who died. You have not only killed the people during COVID when you voted for him the first time, but you've also helped murder people in custody and out of custody and just randomly on the street and just shot by ICE. You did this. You brought Nazis to American soil. You did this. You voted for this. And I don't care if you think you didn't vote for this. It doesn't matter what you thought you voted for. It is.
I would also make a correction on this video. They didn't bring Nazis to the shores. The Nazis were already here. What they did was they made it comfortable for Nazis that were already here to come out and be open with their Nazism. That's just a semantic thing, but other than that, she's spot on.
The reality of what you actually voted for. You thought he was going to just eliminate criminals? That's bullshit. Those people at that Republican convention had deport all immigrants signs. Do you think they were lying? Did you think they were playing around? Did you think they were fucking joking? Everything that they said was in Project 2025. You have no fucking excuse to believe that what is happening now wasn't going to happen because he told us. He told us. Stephen Miller told us. Elon Musk told us. Project 2025 told us. You didn't want to listen. Your life has got to be put on the line. It's blood atonement. So, yeah, if you come home, we can discuss it. But the blood of those people who died from COVID because he was too slow and was fighting Dr. Fauci all the way, you got that blood to atone for as well. But the blood of these people and the innocent people on that boat, on those boats in Venezuela, innocent people who died while he was arresting that president, that's on you too, boo. That's on you too. You're going to have to lay down your life. This is not Jesus. We're not Jesus. We're not forgiving no fucking sins over here. You're going to have to be the Jesus and lay down your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I would also say, yeah, this is a this problem was created by white people. It's going to have to be fixed by white people. So, yeah, it's just this is monstrous. This is what we allowed into this country. This is what we've allowed. And I'm going to go now to our next article. This is, well, this is taken from the Huffington Post. Puffington Post, I guess. And I really, people who left, this is about people who left MAGA Christianity share what it really took to step away. Now, part of me wants to say, you know what? I don't give a fuck. But let's just read through it. This is the Huffington Post. The link will be down in the description. For many Americans raised in conservative Christian environments, faith once felt like a matter of personal conviction and community, not overt political allegiance. But over the past decades, the boundary between belief and ideology has blurred. Really? As religious leaders increasingly endorse candidates from the pulpit and worship music shares space with patriotic anthems. Congregations have since fractured over public health measures, immigration, race, and the policing of cultural morality. A viral video by nurse and content creator Jen Hamilton, in which she reads Matthew 25 alongside a critique of MAGA politics, crystallized a conversation that has been percolating for years. When faith and ideology clash, some believers choose to walk away because of their convictions, even if it costs them the communities that raised them. One commenter reflected on their own experience, wrote, "I grew up Catholic but left the church because of the toxic views and opinions on morality. If most Christians were like you, I reckon I'd go back." Gross. Gross. You'd go back to a cult in order, if they made you feel good about such and such an issue. That's sad. For many, the shift towards political entanglement has been disorienting and for some spiritually devastating. What once felt like a moral home can suddenly feel like a battleground. Followers of MAGA Christianity talk about their experience being part of these communities and why they made the decision to step away from them. Anne Rollins, the author of Famished on food, sex, and growing up as a good girl. I actually tried looking up this book. It's not in my library system. Oh well. She said she recalled a childhood steeped in rules and expectations. Faith was once the most important part of my life. Being a good Christian to me meant following a lot of unwritten and written rules. Growing up Southern Baptist, Rollins said Christianity was presented as nearly inseparable from Republican identity, with patriotic symbols and language woven throughout church life. Faith, freedom were often talked about in the same breath. We often sang patriotic songs in church services in addition to hymns. Nationalism was tightly woven in with Christianity. Yeah, and anything that goes against the edicts of the church. It doesn't matter what church you go to, if you can justify your disbelief or your disobedience to law. That's another thing. Lawlessness. When they talk about, well, we need to obey the laws of the land. Well, they're very, very, very tricky when it comes to which laws they will support and which ones that don't. And come to find out, unless the laws are supported by their favorite cult, they have the moral obligation and the get out of jail free card, you could say. Basically, they're being given a pass. Well, we can violate this law because we believe it violates what we believe in our church. Let's see. Faith intertwined, revealed, darker edge, overlap. Okay, a Georgia-based writer whose upcoming memoir, Unreformed, recounts her experience in a white evangelical reform school, illuminates how these pressures can escalate. MAGA Christianity is a cult. I know because I was in it. Now, I was never in a MAGA Christian cult, but it was pretty close. Leaving isn't easy. It can take everything to break free. In her experience, she had to escape to survive, reflecting that many believers are effectively brainwashed and may not even recognize the influence shaping them. I'm terrified about the merging of politics and Christianity. The merging? It's merged. It's been merged since the 70s. Where have you been? Over the years, she's spoken about these concerns and fears in essays and interviews, blah, 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 blah. And now as an adult, we have a president who many equate with God, and surprise, the White House and the country is literally being torn to pieces. MAGA Christianity is a cult. Okay, I already read that. Many people of faith and non-religious alike note that what's often called MAGA Christianity isn't simply a political stance. It represents a distinct moral framework, one that elevates obedience to authority and nationalism over the traditional Christian values of love, service, and community. I would say that it's not over traditional Christian values. The traditional Christian values that, how do I say this? First of all, fundamentalism and evangelical Christianity are so far removed from what many would consider traditional Christian values. They've been separated for a very long time. So it's not hard for fundamentalist Christianity, Baptists, and other evangelical sects, it's not hard for them to jump into MAGAism and nationalism. Amy Hawke, the author of The Judas Effect, How Evangelicals Betray Jesus. You know what? If you can, I'd like you to look up this book for me.
Okay.
I'm going to type it into the Google chat, if you would.
Okay.
Sorry, there's going to be a lot of extra words. Bookshop.org. Oh, okay. Looks like there's a link there. Anyway, yeah, if you can look up that book for me and see where it's available. I will. I'm interested. And I might just look that up in my library system. For Hawke, the embrace of Trumpism among white evangelicals became too great to ignore. Well, it's so easy to jump into Trumpism because the groundwork is already there. It's already there, laid bare for everybody's. I mean, it's such an easy hopscotch. It's a hop, skip, and a jump, really. I mean, the framework is already there for you. You merge it. You just combine it with the Christianity that you're already raised with. Wow. Sujuichi, the turning point came after years of trauma rooted in white evangelical extremism. At 15, she was sent to Escuela Caribe, an evangelical reform school, for failing to be a subservient adolescent female. There, she and her peers endured what she described as near unimaginable oppression, all justified as being for our own good in the name of Jesus. That perception shattered in 2005 when she read Julia Shear's memoir, Jesus Land, which she encounters a similar experience in the same school. Horrified, Suichi visited the campus and witnessed attempts to whitewash the abuse. Meeting a parent of a current student, she realized that her silence had contributed to continued harm. Well, here's another book for you to look up. Oh, good Lord. There's just so many.
Okay.
And if you can't
send that one to me, but I've just found the other one.
Okay.
Amazon.
Good Lord.
So you've got Kindle edition, nearly $8, hardcover, nearly $25, or paperback, nearly $16. But you can get it on Amazon.
All right. And now you've got a second book to look up. Hey, you know what? I would rather be drowned in information than have nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, So the abuse, well-trained. Oh, good God. Author of the New York Times bestseller, A Well-Trained Wife, My Escape from Christian Patriarchy. You don't have to look this one up. I'm just going to put it in the chat so I have a reference. So
I will now.
Don't mind me, okay?
I just need a second.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Man, those berries really make that lemonade vodka. Oof, good stuff. All right. Levings calls it a malformation of the word Christianity since Jesus was neither nationalist nor authoritarian. I disagree. But again, it depends on what gospel you read. According to Levings, this distortion has persisted because many modern churches have done little to protect their congregations from nationalistic influence, and because authoritarian parenting has shaped the family life for over 50 years. There you go. There's your problem. The result, she explains, is that the meaning of being a Christian in America has fundamentally changed. Yeah. No. No. Levings argues that MAGA Christianity is faith-based and built around a narrow evangelical worldview. Well, my goodness, if you read about the Scopes monkey trial, the ridiculous trial that went on in early America, we're talking in the 1920s, about the teaching of evolution in this rural school in the middle of bumfuck America. I mean, Christianity has always been extreme. It has always been with us. This is why the Ku Klux Klan can consider themselves Christian and espouse a hateful ideology. Okay, what finally made them leave? After leaving their faith community wasn't a decision made lightly. They wrestled for years, blah, blah, blah. Leving said, leaving costs nearly everything. Although that loss may come as a gradual spiral, step by step, the twist is there's so much hope and determination to live an authentic life that you realize you're worth the fight. Stepping away was not a rejection of Jesus, but reclaiming of a faith that felt morally and spiritually coherent. Some experience a sudden jolt of clarity, a sermon, a social media post, or a heated conversation. For me, for myself, I would have to say it was kind of a sudden jolt. It was like, yo. Go ahead.
So the second book, was it Jesus Land?
Yes.
A memoir by, is it Julia? I can't pronounce her second name.
That's okay.
Is available on Amazon Audio, 1 credit, hardcover, nearly $20, or paperback for nearly $14.
Alrighty.
Now,
thank you kindly.
Have a look at the other one. You're welcome.
Yeah, for me, it was kind of a jolt, and then as I kept looking into, the evidence that was being presented as to why the Bible wasn't 100% perfect, correct, and awesome. Once I had accepted that, it came gradually. It started as a jolt, and then it was a gradual realization that, holy shit, everything I believed is a lie. And then the dominoes fell from there. I mean, I was a fundamentalist Christian and a conspiracy theorist. It was harder for me to give up conspiracy theories than it was my faith. My faith had to fall first. And then I realized, oh, the same methodology I was using to justify my faith, I was using to justify my batshit crazy conspiracy theories. So I feel bad for these people that leave the MAGA cult, the nationalist cult, only to stay in the cult of Christianity. I feel bad for these people. Here's a quote. My faith was forced to remain static, which made God very finite and small. Life by its very nature requires growth. So did leaving. She said, it started to feel like the church wasn't about faith anymore. It was about fear and control, about who was in and who was out. For white evangelicals, I believe part of the waking up often happens to waking up to bigger issues of justice and privilege when white folks realize that theirs isn't the only story and perspective. She says her process of disentanglement took 20 years. Holy shit. I'm so glad it didn't take me that long. Can you imagine? 20 years. Damn. I'd still be in the cult of Christianity if it took me that long. Ugh. Anyway. The exit costs of leaving MAGA Christianity. So you can read this article, and it's a pretty lengthy article. And we're going to actually be reading other articles from the Christian Post. We're going to be doing a barrage, a kind of a, how do I say this? It's going to be just one post after another. N.T. Wright. This is from the Christian Post. N.T. Wright warns against unhealthy fascination with demons in modern Christianity. Well, what would give people this fascination? By the way, he's the author of the book Paul, a biography. We actually read this entire book on this channel. But what a book. I mean, it was just infuriating. And now that you find other evidence and realize, oh, the Apostle Paul didn't write a tenth of the. In fact, he may not even. None of the epistles written by Paul were probably written by a man named Paul, but that's another subject. Go ahead.
So I found the third book, A Well-Trained Wife by Tia Levins. Tia Levins. That is available on Amazon. Kindle edition, nearly $12. Audio, $1. Hardcover, just over $20.
All right.
So I've got my homework for the week.
Yeah, well, don't think that you have to buy these books, but I'm going to see if I can find them through my library.
Yeah, it would be educational to have them. I have yesterday, or was it the day before? I think it was I think it was Saturday. I purchased for $1, Dying of Whiteness. So I actually do need to read that at some point.
That's a great book to read. By the way, if you haven't read Dying of Whiteness, I would encourage you. Boom, there it is. Jonathan M. Metzl. Great book. Please get that book.
Also as well, a mutual friend recommended, I believe you know her, Well-Read Black Girl.
Yes.
recommended that I check out Black as Fuck History. So I'm going to go check that out after on Amazon to see about getting it. I think you might have read that though.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is a screenshot of the book that it was an audiobook. I was able to listen to it. Another great book after this book is Freedom's Dominion. That put a lot. That book should be if you've read Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States, Dying of Whiteness and Freedom's Dominion is a must read after, because it delves into how poor Americans were. They lost perspective of their own plight to disenfranchise black people, their black neighbors. And that's why their labor efforts to get equality, to get good working conditions, that's why a lot of these labor efforts failed, is because they got sidetracked because of their racism, misogyny, and white supremacy. They allowed those ideologies to completely cancel out anything that they tried to do. Howard Zinn, kind of in passing, he'll mention it, in passing, but he doesn't do justice. He really doesn't.
So I was just looking at Black as Fuck History on Amazon when I accidentally just come across this other book that's called Afrofuturism, A History of Black Futures.
Black Futures.
Yeah, so the synopsis on it is Afrofuturism explores the evolving and exhilarating concept of Afrofuturism, a lens used to imagine a more empowering future for the Black community through music, art, and speculative fiction. Synonymous beautiful design spread features 100 gorgeous illustrations of objects and images that reflect Black identity, agency, creativity, and hope, including, I cannot pronounce this person's name, T'Challa Suit from Black Panthers. I cannot pronounce that person's name, I'm sorry. But it looks pretty good. I will send you a link.
Okay.
Maybe you'll be able to pronounce this person's name, but
let me get back to this article by N.T. Wright before we get too sidetracked. That's okay. So N.T. Wright is worried that too many people are they're being fascinated and distracted by demons in modern Christianity. Well, okay, but the Bible does talk about demons a lot. You can read the Gospels, you can read Acts, it's all throughout the New Testament. So why wouldn't modern day Christians be, so just reading, so reading the comments on this article, I can see so many Christians are like, well, oh God, I'm not reading all of that. Jesus fuck. One person says, when whole populations are taken over by lies and commit serious wickedness as a result, you realize that the evil involved is more than the sum total of a handful of bad people at the top. I doubt he means Trump and his ilk, despite the reality. Besides, it's the Christian Post. Most likely he means treating LGBT people as human or some such. Demons reside in the same degree of probability as the Christian God. 0. Okay. One atheist. All right. Well, I knew politicians were bad, but demonic adds a whole new level. It's all beginning to make sense. Oh, fucking hell. And then Richard says, oh, it's all fantasy anyway. Okay, so it's kind of an even amount of naysayers and people are like, no, demons are real. I remember this happened to me. Anyway. So N.T. Wright said during a recent episode of Ask Me Anything, cautioning Christians against both the denial of spiritual evil and the unhealthy fixation on it. Okay, well, if it's real, then how can you be fixated on it? If it's real, why wouldn't you encourage your followers to push against it and to combat it? If it's not real, state it plainly. You can't have it both ways. Responding to a question, he's 77 years old, by the way. So he's getting up there. Oof, looks every inch his age. All right. Whether Jesus' arrival triggered an apparent surge of demonic activity in the New Testament. The 77-year-old British author said the Gospels portray Jesus' proclamation of God's kingdom as a moment when hidden spiritual forces were suddenly confronted. When Jesus comes into Galilee and starts saying, the kingdom of God is at hand, it's as though suddenly all the furniture starts flying around the room, Wright said, pointing to gospel accounts of public confrontations and exorcisms. The dark powers realize if he does everything that he looks as if he's going to do, then we're in deep trouble. Okay. Wright says on one of the world's leading biblical scholars, and a former Anglican bishop, said demonic forces were not absent before Jesus' birth, nor were they unknown in first century Judaism. Rather, Jesus' arrival forced those powers into the open. Okay, well, you're acknowledging their existence, so therefore, most serious practicing Jews at the time would have known that you could pray for deliverance, that you could exorcise if somebody was seriously afflicted. Okay, so you're admitting that people were afflicted by demons. But you're also saying that Jews knew about it and could also pray for deliverance. So I'm a little confused. Does he think that Judaism is on par with Christianity? Interesting. Most Christian scholars would never say that. Noting references in Jewish literature and Jesus' own acknowledgement that exorcists already existed in the community. That's interesting. So if the power of Christ is the ultimate, how is it that Jews were able to exorcise demons? In the Gospels, Jesus' opponents accused him of casting out demons by the power of Beelzebub, a charge that, surprised by Hope author, said only makes sense in a cultural context where spiritual affliction was already recognized. At that point, the dark forces, seeing that the kingdom of God is being announced, realize they're going to be in serious trouble. And the answer is yes, they are. So he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. At the same time, Wright warned against framing spiritual evil as equal and opposing force to God, rejecting what he described as a dualistic worldview. We have to get away from any sense that there is God on one side of the page and Satan on the other, locked in endless struggle. That's not the biblical picture. I disagree. I think that the Bible describes this all throughout Scripture, even in the New Testament, Revelation. Drawing on the Apostle Paul's... you're going to bring Paul into this? Paul's discussion of idols and demons in 1 Corinthians, Wright said, Scripture acknowledges the existence of non-human dark forces whose aim is to distort and degrade God's good creation. The devil does this, Wright said, and often through a system of behaviors that diminish human dignity. Wow, you've just described MAGA Christianity to a T. If you're going to say that demons exist, I can't think of a more demon-possessed, and I can't think of a more demon-possessed system than the Christian religion. I mean, he goes on and he goes back and forth and waffles. The link of this article will be down in the description. You can read it at your leisure. I mean, it just goes on and on. He cancels himself out several times, because at some point the demons are even stronger than the apostles. When they try to exorcise demons, I mean, demons are throughout the half of the New Testament, half of the Gospels. I mean, they are heavily featured in just about every Gospel. In a 2025 study from Gallup, found that nearly half of U.S. adults, 48%, believe in psychic or spiritual healing. Slightly fewer, 39%, express beliefs in ghosts, while between 24 and 29 say that they believe in 6 other supernatural phenomena, including telepathy, communication with the dead, clairvoyance, astrology, reincarnation, and witches. This is sad. Here's an extreme thought. Maybe these characters in the Bible do not exist. Have you thought about that? Have you thought that perhaps these are just made up terms to describe things that they couldn't understand? Maybe mental illness used to be described as, well, we don't know what it is. Maybe it's outside forces controlling them. Because one point they're normal, and then the next minute they're off their heads screaming, or they believe they're hearing voices. Oh, could this not just be mental illness? Oh, Jesus fuck. Now he's going to mention C.S. Lewis, the Screw Tape Letters. There's 2 equal and opposite errors. On the one hand, people who say that that's all just medieval mumbo jumbo. On the other hand, people who see demons behind every bush. Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't. You're claiming that this is 2 extremes. What's the middle ground? If demons exist, if demons exist, they exist. How can
demons
either they have power? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it sounds like a virgin's first encounter. Demons behind a bush. I'm not saying nothing else.
I mean, no. I mean, it's crazy enough. If they do exist, and that means they have powers, right? So you can't say, well, you can't get too extreme with it because, my God, it's like saying if the devil exists and he's as the Bible describes, shouldn't you be worried about that?
Showing everyone, yeah.
And if Christ is powerful, right? If Christ is more powerful than every demon and devil and Satan, then how is it they have any power at all? Here's another Christian post, and we've got to switch. Tim Allen, the voice of Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, to infinity and beyond.
He has revealed that he's studying Apostle Paul's teaching on law, sin, amid his own spiritual journey. Link of this abomination of an article is going to be in the description. Actor and comedian Tim Allen recently revealed his interest in faith, philosophy, and the foundations of Christianity has led him deep into the writings of the Apostle Paul. Oh, well, I guess Tim Allen isn't a misogynist prick enough. He's not a big enough misogynist prick. He's going to go to the Apostle Paul. Paul's teaching that law exists to expose humanity's sin. The 72-year-old home improvement star discussed those ideas during a wide-ranging conversation with comedian and political commentator Bill Maher on his Club Random podcast, where the two touched on topics ranging from stand-up comedy, race, to geopolitics, aliens, and early Christianity. Why am I not surprised? This is why you don't do drugs, kids. Tim Allen, a well-known drug addict, cocaine and booze. Why does this not surprise me? Severe drug abuse that limits your brain capacity. It just burns through your neurons, burns through your brain cells. And now, after all of this time, now he's interested in Christianity. It makes total sense.
What? But he's not going to learn of anything about Jesus from Paul. Paul never met Jesus.
Interesting, yep. And the Apostle Paul didn't even write half of what's been attributed to him. As a matter of fact, they're finding out that
anonymous authors. There was anonymous authors that written most of what is in the Bible. Nobody knows who these anonymous authors are. That's why they're calling them anonymous, because nobody knows who they are.
Yeah. So this is what Tim Allen says. Paul said something intuitive that I'm still studying, because he says law was basically invented to develop sin. The fuck? Without law, you don't know what sinful is. So law was basically just to give you guardrails of what the world is. What the fuck? That makes absolutely no sense. This is why you don't do drugs, kids. I'm almost interested enough to listen to just to listen to how deranged this conversation. You've got two drug addicts sitting with a microphone, and people are lapping this up.
Paul never said that, though. Paul never said that. Paul never said that.
Paul didn't say that specifically, but he basically said the law was given. I can't think of the actual quote.
Expose and define humans' transgressions.
Well, right. But the way he's wording it, it's just like, it doesn't, it's not, he's not connecting. Yeah. But that's Christianity in a nutshell. Listening to Tim Allen, it's like, this is what Christianity is. It's as nonsensical as this conversation taking place. At one point, Allen recalled visiting Jerusalem, Jesus fuck, and being struck by the physical reality of biblical history after a tour guide casually pointed out places associated with Jesus. Okay, well,
all right.
You can go to Turkey and find ancient structures that are you can associate with Jesus. Out of nowhere, the tour guide said, and that's where Jesus walked through there. And then you're going, it never occurred to me that the dude actually existed. Well, okay. Why would it occur to you now that he existed? Just because a tour, this is how dumb this guy is. He's literally being led by the nose by a tour guide. And then Bill Maher says, well, he may not have. And then Tim Allen says, well, not according to this guy. Recounting the guide's insistence on Jesus' historical presence. The guide, Allen added, referred to Jesus as probably the strongest, most powerful Jew ever. You're basing all this on a fucking tour guide. Wow.
Is this
to be this
AI
gullible
as well?
No, I'm sure this is a fundamentalist Christian tour guide. It wouldn't surprise me. Or a messianic Jew. A person who tries to mix Jesus with Judaism, which doesn't work at all. Good luck. The Toy Story actor shared that his daughter told the guide that Jesus was Christian. A comment Bill Maher dismissed as stupid, emphasizing that Jesus was Jewish and that the Christianity emerged from Judaism. Yes. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bill Maher is right.
He's correct, though. Yes, he is correct.
Christianity came out of Judaism that, for the first 100 years after Christ died, it was sort of a debate. And then Alan says, not even a debate. Alan later returned to Paul's story, describing Paul as a zealous Jew who initially persecuted Christians. Okay. And then Mars says, well, undoubtedly gay. No, really, he's very hostile to women. I mean, that's funny. Yeah, go ahead.
Because you had other religions first. You had Judaism, Catholicism, and then you got Christianity that is branched from Catholicism, but it all stems from Judaism. So Bill Maher is not wrong there. And I said to you many times, and you said to me that Jesus was Jewish. Jesus was Jewish. He wasn't white.
Tim Allen isn't done. Christian. He goes on in his he's blithering idiot. And then he describes Paul as going, "Oh God, we screwed up." That's what he thinks Paul was saying. He went back to Jerusalem and said, "Guys, we screwed up. I think we did kill the actual living entity, whatever you call that. So I think we've got to include these pagans into Judaism." This is why you don't give everybody a microphone. Alan, get this. He majored in philosophy, also spoke about Paul's engagement with Greek thought, noting that while Paul was not himself a Greek philosopher, he interacted with Stoic ideas during his ministry. We don't know fuck all about that. He wants to include pagans into the Jewish religion. No, fucker. He wants to include pagans in his version of Christianity. Because we shouldn't have murdered this guy, Jesus. He was telling the truth. What is Bill Maher? Bill Maher has got to be scratching his head going, what the fuck is this guy on?
Mm-hmm. And I agree, because there was a lot of pagan mythology. There was a lot of Greek mythology that was stolen and intertwined into Christianity.
Well, there were influences, yes, but
a lot of it.
But that's not. Yeah. Paul was not
that, but I just needed to point to that.
He wasn't trying to add to Judaism. That is stupid. Paul basically spoke about. He was so against Judaism, he called them the synagogue of Satan. Anybody who said anything against what he was saying, he called them complete of the devil. Anyway, let's continue.
Paul was trying to build his own thing. Paul was trying to build his own thing.
Well, the writers who wrote claiming to be Paul, that I can't remember his name, but
we've discussed this before.
Yes.
I think Paul was so hidden in the closet that he was anti-woman. Like, I don't know what woman hurt him. I don't know what woman hurt him so badly, or made him stay in the closet so stuck hard as what he was. But he was so stuck in the closet, not even the Wizard of Oz would have reached him.
Yeah.
He was so hateful.
Yeah, we read the book.
We did.
I can't think of it. It's Christ Before Jesus, and I can't find that book. Damn it! I can't think of where I put it. It's gonna haunt me.
I've got it on my Kindle. But yes, we did read Christ Before Jesus's book. We also did read another book of Paul that led to many sort of nearly throwing the book across the room.
The Warrior Christ, Boyd.
Yeah, not Michael Boyd. Something Boyd. That was infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was just on a high.
Gregory Boyd.
Gregory Boyd, thank you. Yeah.
You're
okay, let's move on. He wants to include Jewish religion. Okay, we read that. Alan describes Paul's transformation as a shift from persecutor to devoted follower. That's easy. A change that repeatedly put his life in danger. Alan reiterated that he's still studying Paul's teaching on law and sin. Because what's a brain-damaged ex-drug addict to do? Last June, Alan revealed that he's starting reading the New Testament as part of his journey of reading through the Bible and was amazed by Paul's letters to the Romans. Oh, I finished the Old Testament, and it is such a gift when I get out of the way and the words and meaning flow. This week, I am now in the book of the Gospel of Paul. The book of the Gospel of Paul. A Roman Jew familiar with Plato's student. I was amazed in 7 pages. Okay. Yeah, this guy has lost the plot. And then he's going to blame his... Here's what I'm going to predict. Tim Allen is going to become a fundamentalist Christian, and he's going to try to convert everybody he sees, and he's going to lose out on acting gigs, and he's going to blame everybody for being a Christ hater. After nearly a year, I have finished the entire Old Testament, and the experience of rereading, dedicated focus, and no drifting has made this a humbling, overwhelming experience. What a treasure. That's what you get out of reading the Old Testament. Though raised Episcopalian, Allen has said his faith journey was shaped by seasons of skepticism, followed by personal hardship, including the death of his father when he was 11. In 1978, Allen was arrested at a Michigan airport after authorities found more than a pound of cocaine in his luggage. He later pleaded guilty and served 2 years in federal prison in the mid-20s. Oh, in his mid-20s. Okay. By his own account, Allen carried that cynicism into childhood. In a 2011 interview, the Shifting Gears star said he did not like the idea of God and described himself at the time as a cynic. Over the years, however, his perspective has shifted, and he began referring to God as the builder, someone he turns to for guidance and purpose. I always do ask the builder, what do you want me to do? And I do ask it, but you've got to be prepared for the answer. That's sad. That's sad. And so since 2011, he's been... Well, I mean... Ugh. Okay. Yuck. Well, what can you say after that? Oh, here's another article. This is from the LGBTQ Nation. Americans think Republicans are too obsessed with trans people. Now, here's an interesting thing. I love how LGBTQ Nation link is going to be in the description. They separate Americans and Republicans. I love that, and I don't think they meant to do that on purpose. Go ahead.
I was just going to add a little fuel to the fire of Paul, and I want that director to answer. But like, can he explain Paul's deep-seated same-sex desires that he goes into explaining in Romans 1, and his deep sort of fascination and sort of how can we put this? His deep-seated need to explain how he has a particular close and fond relationship with Timothy.
Well, I mean, we know Paul didn't write, or the character that they attribute the letters
To
of
Paul.
Timothy. Yeah, we know that
Yeah.
that character Paul did not write them. But
Mm-hmm.
Timothy is basically described as an acolyte,
Mm-hmm.
someone he trains to be in the ministry and sends him out. But
Someone that Paul has deep affections for.
well, deep affections as far as ministry is concerned. I mean, I wouldn't say anything was untoward in the writing, even in the writing.
I wouldn't say that until I read like Romans 1, where Paul is like literally saying about same sex.
Oh, you mean
Yeah,
Corinthians?
it's weird.
Yeah, it could be. Most Americans, now get this. Most Americans believe that it's a problem that Republicans are transphobic. A new YouGov poll
Of course they are.
asks Americans whether they thought that certain issues were a problem for either party. 44% said that transphobia was a major problem among Republicans, and another 24% said they thought it was a minor problem. Only 32% of respondents said it was a problem. Transphobia was the second most likely issue to be labeled a problem by respondents, after hostility towards immigrants, tolerance of political violence, conspiracy thinking, white supremacy, homophobia, fascism followed closely behind. Oddly, 40% of the respondents said that transgender ideology was a major problem for Republicans, and another 20% said it was a minor problem. 41% said that they didn't think it was a problem at all for Republicans. For Democrats, tolerance...
I think it's a major problem.
Yeah. Tolerance of political violence, wokeness, elitism, transgender ideology, and gender ideology top their list of major problems. Misogyny, transphobia, homophobia, and hostility towards immigrants were all close to the bottom of that list. The poll involved 1,107 U.S. adult citizens interviewed from December 30th to January 1st. They were also asked if they had overall favorable opinions of the Democratic and Republican parties, and their views were fairly balanced. 39% had a favorable view of Democrats, and the same percentage had a favorable view of Republicans. The polling falls in line with other polls in the last 2 years that followed that voters do not care about curtailing transgender people's rights as much as Republicans do. And it goes on. Race after race was called. Democrats won by wide margins in contests where anti-trans rhetoric dominated the campaign, a stunning rebuke of anti-trans politics. I have to say, at least some communities are getting wise, and they're getting sick and tired of seeing these abominable, just atrocious campaigns being leveled at people. And I mean, they're going after trans people like Going back to N.T. Wright, they consider them demon possessed. Because, oh my goodness, first they were male, now they're female. That's just terrible. They never talk about female going to male. Isn't that interesting? Go ahead.
I just want to make a point. Yes, they are absolutely obsessed with our trans brothers and sisters. You don't see people on the left demanding that people's bits are checked to see which toilets they're going in. You don't see the left demanding that children going to nurseries and stuff get checked to see, it seems to be the perverted Republicans that want to know what's down little kids and adults' trousers, So I do think the Republicans have got a very demented problem when it comes to gender identity and sexual identification. I think they have a problem that needs to be addressed because at the end of the day, it is nobody's business what is down somebody else's pants, let alone them trying to see what's down children's.
For people that are anti-gay, they seem to have genitalia on the brain. Isn't that interesting?
Quite a lot, yes. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I don't know about you, but when I go into a public bathroom, my number one objective is to get in there, pee as quickly as I can, and get out. I ain't worried about what the person next to me is doing. I ain't bothered. I just want to pee. I want to get in, I want to wash my hands, and I want to get out. Why are Republicans obsessing over something that is not their business?
Well, right-wingers generally are very obsessed with sex.
Then they need to go get laid and leave other people alone. Leave people alone. People are not doing nothing wrong. Leave people pee in peace. Nobody is doing anything wrong. Public bathrooms are there to be used. Just leave people use the public bathrooms, get in and out, wash their hands, and just leave them in peace. They ain't doing anyone any harm.
Speaking of secret gays, here's an article about an ICE agent. This is from LGBTQ Nation again. ICE agent threatens to kill man in car. He says, "Did you not learn from what just happened?" Guess what he was referring to?
Please tell me that he was not referring to the 2 murders that ICE done recently.
Before that. The execution of Renee Nicole Good. Shot 3 times in the face.
And Keith Porter as well. Disgusting. Why haven't they been arrested yet?
Yeah. An immigration and custom enforcement
for him to then sit in the car threatening someone else.
Was caught on video threatening to kill a Christian man in a car, and he cited how another ICE agent killed queer mom Renee Nicole Good last week. "Sir, this is a warning," the agent yells at the driver. "Stop fucking following us. You are impeding operations. This is the United States federal government." The driver explained that he lived in the area, and "I serve the Lord and go to church." "I will arrest you," the agent shouted before walking away. The driver continued to say the agents should let people go to church. "You're not going to like the outcome of this, sir," the second agent responded. "I guarantee that." "Did you not learn from what just happened?" the first agent asked in an apparent reference to Good's death. "Learn what?" the driver asked as the agent walked away. "I serve the Lord, not the draft-dodging coward. I can't believe you take orders from a draft dodger." No. Well, anyway. I would say Jesus was the ultimate draft dodger. Anyway, doesn't matter. We don't have time to go into that.
I think he was referring I know. I think he was referring to Captain Bone Spurs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
ICE needs to be removed implicitly and without complication. They are not a legal entity. These are Trump's goons, and I have said this before. What they are doing is not legal. They are Trump's assassins, basically. Trump needs to be removed. ICE needs to be removed. Anyone that's complicit in letting ICE run around murdering people, they need to be removed and imprisoned. But sorry, I'll let you get on.
No, it's okay. That's it. Good news. Zohran Mamdani and his wife move into the New York mayoral mansion, leaving behind a 1-bedroom apartment. You know, I was led to believe that Mamdani was this rich millionaire living off the fat of the land, but apparently him and his wife are leaving behind a leaky 1-bedroom apartment in Queens. That doesn't sound like a well-to-do millionaire, does it?
Mamdani's one of us. He is a normal, regular person that has been voted in to do a job that the Republicans can't do. So hopefully he'll be able to get everything sorted out that needs to be sorted out.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand a Democrat was in office before Mamdani.
Yeah, Democrat name only.
But
we don't claim. Yeah, we don't claim him. Mayor Adams, that guy was. That guy was a Trumper. No. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so apparently, he's moving. I mean, that doesn't sound like a millionaire living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, he comes from humble beginnings.
He was paying $2,300 per month for that 1-bedroom apartment that lacked a washer and a driver and was prone to flooding from a busted pipe. Wow. That is wild. So, I mean, this is definitely a move up, but you can see why Mamdani takes his role seriously. His first day as mayor, he was literally going from house to house looking at people's living conditions, and they were showing him the deplorable living conditions that they're being forced to live under. And he's like, you know what? The landlords need to be held responsible for this. They need, to be honest, I didn't think he'd make it this far. I thought for sure an attempt would be made on his life. I mean, with all of the unhinged wackaloons, I can't believe he's actually in the mayor's mansion now. I honestly didn't think he'd make it. Even after winning election. I'm glad he did, yes. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Let's hope now he will get things that need to be done, that the people need to get done, you know? Because we need people in office that listen to the people, you know, that do right by the people.
From what I can tell, he's lived the life. He's not been on easy street. You know, he was living in Queens, not Long Island.
Yeah. So he will understand the importance of things that need to get done, like pushing employers to pay their employees a fair and decent wage. I understand that there's only so much Mamdani has control over. We need more Democrats in positions of power that can change things for the better.
But I guess what I'm...
hopefully this is a step in the right direction.
Well, yeah, I think it definitely is. But I think what it does is it makes him more relatable. He's more down to earth. He's not some elite that...
He is working class. He's like us. He's working class. You know, he's been there. He's done it. He knows where we're coming from because he's been there himself. Like he is there himself. Apart from he's just moved into a new place. You know, he knows exactly what needs to be changed. We need more people like Mamdani in office that knows the harsh realities of what needs to be changed, you know? Now we just need people to go out in the midterms and vote to get some proper people in, you know?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Across the board, we need to get the Senate, we need to get the House, and we need to get the courts, as well as we need to get the White House back. Even though I know that the damage that's been done to the White House cannot be fixed like to how it was, but we need to get that plague out of there. He needs to be impeached and he needs to be put in prison, and the only way we can do that is by people actually voting in people that are going to do right by us and for justice. Trump cannot be left to get away with the things that he has done.
Nope. Enough is enough. And with that being said,
enough last year. I had enough before he was even voted in.
We want to thank you for joining us. Skeptically Speaking podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in and not tuning out. If you want to have more independent media in your life, please consider supporting the show. Cash App, Venmo, or Patreon. Links will be down in the description.
Feet pictures cost extra. Sorry, have to. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We love reading your comments and thank you for your support.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Wake up, grab a brush and put a little makeup. Hide the scars to fade away. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to hide the scars that fade away with a shake-up. You wanted to. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die. In my self-righteous suicide, I cry when angels deserve to die. Commend my spirit.